welcome to another episode of Learning Pod brought to you exclusively by Infinity Learning Space. Today we are here to speak about the new curriculum change, the new curriculum 2025-2030, as we speak to a veteran in the industry. That's right, we are here with Mr. Nilendra Vithanage. Mr. Nilendra Vithanage,
Hi, Devendra.
Very warm welcome
Hi.
back. To briefly introduce Mr. Nilendra Vithanage to you, he is the Chief Manager, Zonal Head of the Business Banking Department of a leading commercial bank in Sri Lanka and has over 14 years of experience in the profession. He is a fellow chartered accountant of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka and a member of the Institute of Chartered Management Accountants and holds a BSc Financial Management special degree from the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. And not just that, he also has a master's in financial economics from the University of Colombo. Well, Ms. Vithanage, once again a very warm welcome to
Pleasure.
you. Ms. Vithanage, let's start by speaking about the curriculum change.
Yes.
Let's speak about the vision of the new curriculum. There are 3 core promises that have been spoken about. Let's talk by starting about the trusted, strategic and storyteller promises. These are the key elements. Can we talk about what the new changes within the risk controls and assurance pillar develop for those 3 elements?
So, Devendra, it's like this now. What our students has to see is that the environment is changing rapidly, right? The post-COVID, right? And the entire financial reporting and the governance, auditing practices have changed. So in that time, the 2020 syllabus, which was the previous syllabus that was there, was actually a syllabus where everybody thought the finance as a business partner, where finance was a kind of a shared service, a business partner, kind of, that's not a part of the cooperation of the business, it's a business partner type. So you thought everything from the CFO's angle. But now the good thing about the new syllabus, which the CASriLanka recently launched, is that the finance person, or maybe a CFO, maybe let's say finance director, or even a finance manager starting there, you are a storyteller of the organization, because you are the one who goes in front of your stakeholders, maybe the shareholders, maybe the general public, maybe let's say the investor community. You are the one who is going and you are the one who is telling the story about your company. So these stories are told because of due to different reasons, maybe for tax purpose, maybe for investors returns purpose. So whatever the reason, you are the storyteller. So you need to have the kind of skills that are needed in the current environment, as well as CASriLanka has projected the necessary skills that you need to have up until maybe 2030. So the storyteller concept is something that is really important, which I see is part of the main pillars of this particular syllabus. And also you are a person who is trusted, because we all work with people's money, right? The public trust, the public interest. So the finance personnel, the professional, the chartered accountant should always have that trust in their mind, right? You are the one who is accountable for people's money, be it shareholders, be it let's say the general public, the taxpayers' money. So you need to have trust and governance. So with all these kind of strategic dimensions, the syllabus has been developed. So overall, when we take that and we align that to the audit and the risk, the governance areas. So I would say in terms of audit, there was certain amount of previous syllabus contents were carried through, but there were certain amount of new additional areas were also included. So if I tell you areas such as, let's say, the digitalization, because digitalization, you know, it's completely rapidly happening. So those areas were included into the syllabus as a whole. And in terms of the others, the internal auditing, because it's major part of the governance. internal auditing has also been given much more emphasis on the new 2025 syllabus. And apart from that, now good old days, the financial risk, the risk management was taken as part of the financial, the risk management area. It's a different pillar. But here, from the risk management, financial risk management has been taken into audit and governance. So that's also an area where CASriLanka has thought strategically why you take financial risk as a different area, put it into the audit and governance and risk and control, and take financial risk analysis also into this. That's also something that I love to teach to my students. So overall, the co-auditing principles, co-auditing continues from the previous syllabus to the current syllabus, but risk management, the financial risk management, the digitalization areas, the more emphasis on internal auditing, those areas have enhanced the students' repertoire on delivering that storyteller mindset.
Okay, very interesting. So since there'll be a very all-rounded impact on the
Yes.
students, let's also speak about CL3. I believe it goes as CL25-3
Yes.
in corporate level.
Yes.
Let's speak about how the syllabus structure has changed a bit, and like the weightage has changed.
Yes.
Because something that we realize is that about 50%
Yes.
now is focused on audit planning and
Yes.
execution.
Yes.
What are the differences compared to the old syllabus? I know you mentioned a little bit about the additions. Can you
Yeah.
speak about the differences in the syllabus as well?
So the points, say the core areas of auditing remains, say audit planning, the risk assessment, gathering audit evidence, audit reporting, the standard related areas, that remains. So if someone asks from me what's the pure subject of auditing, where it lies, it's where at the corporate level. So the basic auditing standards, those are continuously going. And also, if you take the corporate governance, now in the previous syllabus, there was not much emphasis on good corporate governance. There was part of corporate governance which was there at the business level earlier, but here there was much emphasis has been given to corporate governance as well, because when a student comes to corporate level means that student is doing a kind of a job in the organization like assistant accountant, maybe an accountant. So he needs to know he needs to have better understanding on corporate governance, how the board of directors, the board structure is there, what are the responsibilities of audit committee, how does the internal audit and these kind of review mechanisms work in an organization. So much emphasis was given than the previous syllabus in the corporate level on corporate governance, because I also like it, because that's an area where our students also have to have a kind of an understanding. Then the audit planning, gathering audit evidence and audit reporting remains. The auditing standards you have to learn. So auditing standards are continuing from the last syllabus. That's there. Then the next part, the interesting part is that, as I already mentioned, the financial risk management is included into this. So how do you manage financial risk? Because financial risk management is important for a accountant, maybe a practicing accountant in an audit firm, or maybe say you are working in industry, like say financial controller. It's important for you to manage financial risk, because we as a country, we have gone through a bankruptcy, right? So if you take the country getting bankrupt, if you drill down that to the grassroots level, it's partly because of individuals like you and I, our organizations, are certain financial practices that also have contributed into country getting into bankruptcy. So we all need to have an understanding about this financial risk management. Very important. So what will happen if you don't manage your finance properly, right? Because ultimately the custodian of the public wealth is with the financial controllers of the organizations, finance people, like the people you and I. So very important that you have to learn that, and it's important that CASriLanka teach that to you at the corporate level. itself, which was not in the previous syllabus. That's the main difference, main change I see at the corporate level. And certain areas which were there in the previous syllabus, like topics like assurance, part of the quality control areas, those were taken out and those were given into the strategic level pillar, because CASriLanka has also identified a kind of there was some amount of overburdening of students in the corporate level auditing, because so much of elements were there previously. I think good news for the students is that those were taken away from the corporate level and those were parked in the strategic level as well. So corporate level, some amount of syllabus content reduction has happened. So that's welcome from the students' perspective, but also financial risk management and more emphasis on governance has been given. So that's something that we have to welcome as well.
Definitely. And also speaking about understanding as well, because what we saw was that there were certain areas like about regulatory bodies,
Yes.
including CASriLanka, CBSL, ROC, which I believe was not really there in the previous syllabus. How important is it that now it is the details or the understanding about the regulatory bodies are included in the syllabus for the students as well, because they deal with them at one
Dumitra, it's like this now. We, the finance people, we always go through a rigorous compliance framework. As you clearly said, the CASriLanka, maybe say Securities and Exchange Commission, the Stock Exchange, the CBSL, Anti-Money Laundering Reporting, Financial Intelligence Unit, Sri Lanka Accounting and Auditing Standards Monitoring Board. So if you see all these, maybe EPF and ETF even, right? See all these. Now, if you take all these all bodies time to time implement different maybe regulations, different pronouncements, which we have to abide to. If you don't do that, what will happen? The repercussions are so severe. Sometimes that may impact the survival of the organization as well. So that knowledge about those regulations, knowledge about those governance structure, is important for you to be a holistic finance personnel. Say, good old days were gone, those days are gone where we were just accountants, right? People who are posting double entries, say, it's now over. So it's now the time for all of us is to think as a leader in the organization who takes the ownership of finance, accountability on finance, and execute this within their organizations and be that storyteller at the annual general meeting, right? Yeah. You come in front of the shareholders and put up the story. This is our numbers, these are our profits, these are our asset values, and this is how we impacted our society, right? So coming up and putting those numbers and the story in the organizations at the annual general meeting, that's the skill you need. And governance, as you said, maybe the regulatory framework, knowing that is important, because if you don't comply in the current context of the world, including in Sri Lanka, you can't survive.
Okay, and also speaking about the understanding as well and providing a holistic approach to it, something that is very trending is ESG reporting and disclosures. Exactly. And digital transformation. What level of depth is taught in this syllabus about those areas, subject areas, and how are we going to cover it within the new syllabus?
See, now the sustainability standards have already implemented. Right now, it's mandatory for Sri Lanka students as a finance professional to go with sustainability, because the requirements are there. Those requirements include that we need to have a kind of a mechanism where organizations should have a robust reporting on that. Because when you need to have a robust reporting in sense, whatever happens around your sphere of influence as an organization, how you impact to your stakeholders, maybe nearby community, those reportings are needed. Because sometimes, Dumindra, I would say one decision that you make that will have an impact on your community will make or break your company. Yeah. That's to that extent it is there. Now, if you take, there are instances in Sri Lanka where the negative impacts of a business which impacted the society resulted in companies to dismantle itself and move it away. So those kind of things are very important. So sustainability reporting, ESG reporting was embedded to the syllabus. So it's really welcoming to see that, because students will be equipped with that and they will go into the market as a storyteller with this knowledge.
Wonderful. And okay, so speaking about additions also, something that we also have is data analytics and audit planning and digital tools, cybersecurity, etc. It's a new topic for all of us. How exactly will it be included in the subject? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So data analytics, digitalization, both those are there in corporate level as well as strategic level. Both subjects, those are there. Because why it's important, to answer your question, see, auditing now is not manual, right? If you take all big 3 audit firms in Sri Lanka, maybe globally, if you go to global audit firms, even mid-sized audit firms even, now use audit tools, right? You use audit softwares, you use test data, you use a lot of auditing tools. So when you use those auditing tools, it's really important for you to have an understanding about these auditing tools, how it operates, how it works, through that how to get a sample, through that how to do a test, how to do a walkthrough test, through that understanding is needed. And also data analytics itself has given the ability of the auditor to test more items within a kind of a shorter time period. And also the decisions that you arrive are mostly human error free. And also now you have AI embedded to it, and you have machine learning embedded to that. The machine now learns, right? So with that, the audit tool itself can execute certain commands, right? So that will help you out. So if you audit a current multinational organization, if you are in the audit of, let's say, a multinational organization, even Sri Lankan multinational, right? If you are in the audit of that, you need those tools to be learned. So that's what these tools bring in, the kind of knowledge that is needed for you to become an auditor for that level. And remember, Dumindra, this CASriLanka qualification is a global passport for you, right? So if you go to any migration evaluation process, or maybe a job offering in Middle East, or even Australia, even whatever, right, wherever, this is a global passport. So you may be working in a global organization. So if you are working in a global organization like that, the skills on data analytics, the skills on digitalization, skills on AI, machine learning, robotics, you need to have that. So that is embedded in corporate level as well as in strategic level. Using those tools, how to get it into your audit, it's there. Because as I always say, CASriLanka qualification is a global passport.
Yeah. A very promising curriculum, I believe. Okay, let's speak, since you started speaking about strategic level as well, let's speak a little bit about the 2 new subjects, the 2 optional subjects in strategic level, which is advanced audit and professional practice and advanced risk management and corporate governance. Could you tell us a little bit about the key new areas that are highlighted within these 2 subjects?
See, now in 2020 syllabus, I will come to this context of it, why we need to have 2 subjects on that. In 2020 syllabus, once you getting qualified, after you get qualified, if you are to become a professionally practicing auditor, maybe you want to start your own audit firm, at that time you have to do another exam after getting qualified, right? That is called professional practice module or something, which you got to do, which is a separate exam that you got to do, and it's students felt it, why I have to do it again after doing all sorts of these exams, why I need to do another exam. So students felt like that. So in that sense, CASriLanka has made it very clear, if you want to go in the professional practice, if you want to become an auditor, practicing auditor, hey, you don't need to learn about certain areas about financial management, financial risk analysis. You don't need to learn them, which may be mostly relevant to the students who are in the industry. better you learn much more areas about audit, the assurance, right? Maybe digital tools needed for auditing. So putting them into a one subject, they came up with the professional practice subject. So that's for the students. I'm clearing yourself, students. That's for the students who are specializing in starting up their own audit firms.
Okay.
For people who want to practice,
Yeah.
you can select that subject. And for students who want to become an industry accountant, who want to be a CFO somewhere, or maybe a kind of a risk analyst somewhere, or maybe a business analyst, or maybe say whoever, tax practice. If you want to go into the industry rather than into I would say the professional practice, there is a separate subject for you. You don't have to do that. You have to do this. Where the emphasis is much given to areas like risk management, areas like general knowledge about internal auditing, because you will be the one who is dealing with the internal audit and all, knowledge about internal auditing, knowledge about risk management. So you are equipped with that knowledge. So two set of expertise, two set of students who like to, you can elect either of those subjects. So the benefit of that is, Nilendra, this will make sure the amount of content that the student has to study to be less. Now, most of the time the complaint from the students was that, hey, we have to study so much, sir, mara godak tiyena study karana. So it's so much, sir, too much, very difficult. So at that time, CASriLanka came up with, okay, this is for the people who are practicing, this is for the people who are in the industry. Select either, do your exam. And Nilendra, apart from that, for general understanding, right, the CASriLanka syllabus, now this current syllabus, the kind of new syllabus which is being introduced for 2025 onwards, is much more futuristic, because going forward, we don't know what will happen in the finance industry, or maybe say the general business industry, or maybe political arena. We don't know what will happen. So you need to be part taking decisions, right? To make decisions, you need to have a holistic knowledge about the business, right? If you don't have knowledge about holistic picture through a case study, if you don't have that knowledge, some of the decisions that you are taking may be taken from one angle. If I am the finance guy, I will be taking a decision to cut down all the cost. Finance guy is always there to cut down the cost, no? Right? If you want to improve your profit, what you do? You will say, hey, we will cut the cost, right? But the sales guy on the other side, sales guy is saying, hey, we have to do this campaign, we have to do this promotion, so therefore increase this cost. We will bring in the numbers, the sales, revenue. So two different spectrums, right? So at the boardroom, finance and marketing and sales will be always at the loggerheads, right? To avoid this, all of us needs to have a kind of a case study knowledge. I would say. So at that time, myself as a finance person will put myself into the shoes of you as a salesperson. I will analyze the situation from your angle as well. Case study knowledge, right? So earlier we only had the SL5 case study. Now you have all the capstones at the business level, capstones at the corporate level, as well as at the strategic level. You have the capstone knowledge. So the knowledge that you gain in business level auditing, corporate level, strategic level auditing will be tested at the capstone as well. So the beauty of this is you become a kind of holistic professional accountant who will make decisions thinking about the big picture of the organization. So case study knowledge, that's why important. So sometimes students came to me and asked, Nilendra, sir, maybe capstone, what's that? Maybe those are additional subjects neither. No, I told them, these are, yes, they are additional subjects, but what? But that will give you the knowledge for you not to fail at the organization. Yes, you can get the qualification, students, right? If you do the exam, you all will get the qualification. But with the qualification, you have to go to the industry and you have to work, right? When you are working, only the real questions come in. If you think that, right? If you think that's the only difficult thing, go to the industry and find a kind of a dilemma type of a question or problem, business problem. Those are the kind of never ending. Sometimes you may have sleepless nights even, right? At that time, if you have the holistic knowledge about the industry, holistic knowledge about what is happening at the global markets, knowledge about the tax, knowledge about what the political leaders are thinking, knowledge about what your shareholders are thinking, the decisions you are making are much more precise. The chances of your decision failing will be very less. And also you are thinking about the people who are under you, right? Those are also important. So that knowledge is given to you by these capstones. That's also a new area I think I welcome in the CASriLanka syllabus. That is very positive.
Yeah. And okay, also speaking about making decisions and all of that, something that is very key is risk management. So speaking about in the advanced risk management and corporate governance subject, there are certain areas about which include enterprise risk management and financial risk management. What exactly are these areas?
Now, enterprise risk management, right? Say all organizations, we say no, when you go to industry. Now, this is relevant for the people who are in the industry, right? People who are selecting the industry, what you call people who are going to the industry as CFOs, maybe financial controllers, likewise. Now, if you take in every organization, we say there are 3 lines of defense in terms of risk, right? One, the business front line. The second, the risk management department. Third, the internal audit department. So any risk that is coming in front line, the people like you and I, or the risk management department or the internal audit department, we all have to take them separately. We have to analyze the risk. So at that time, enterprise risk management, where you take risk as a kind of a responsibility of everyone in the organization. ERM discuss about that. So you can earn money from risk. Good old days are the time where you thought risk is a kind of a negative thing. But if you manage risk properly, if you manage risk proactively, you can earn money from risk, right? Take COVID, right? People earn money through COVID, right? So if you properly, proactively manage risk, you as a maybe financial controller, you can earn good money. So you can add value to the organization. That's why that is being taken into the strategic level for the people who are specializing in the industry, enterprise risk management, for them to make organization to earn money. Because now the days are over, students, where we took risk as a always negative factor. Where you can earn money if you manage properly risk, if you have proactive decision making. Like as an example, if I tell you, if you have foreign currency fluctuation risk, right, where the local currency LKR fluctuate against USD, if you put a swap or maybe let's say forward booking, you can earn money for the organization, right? So that's what you got to do. To do that, you need to have ERM knowledge, right? And you need to know what are the risk policies that your organization has, how your group risk management department works. So that knowledge is being parked in there for you to make those decisions. And on the other side, say sustainability again, right? What I'm saying, sustainability itself will also create money for you, right? It's not all about just disclosures. It will also create money, right? Classic example, right? Now, if you go to renewable energy, it makes money, right? Maybe sustainability, maybe climate financing, right? Because Sri Lanka, nowadays facing climate-related risk. Everybody says we are not in an earthquake prone area, but we are very safe. But that's not the case, right? Earthquakes is a separate thing, but imagine about the climate change, where you have now rainfall, you don't know, you can't predict at what time the rain comes in. Now imagine the impact of that on the crop, maybe paddy, maybe let's say whatever, right? The loss on the crops. So as a finance person, you need to analyze and evaluate those losses. Now, when I say all these students, you may never heard about this, right? So what maybe now they make climate financing, yeah. But students, it's a game changer, right? For the future chartered accountant, this is the game changer. If you can earn money from that, if you can predict the loss that can happen because of the rainfall or maybe incoming drought, right? So droughts are also now very common, right? So as a finance person, as a storyteller, if you can add value to the organization, this is an area where you can excel. So that knowledge is also, students, really important for you to excel at your organization.
Speaking about knowledge and adding knowledge to us, we want to ask you about, because in advanced risk management and corporate governance again, we have areas such as digital finance and financial technologies and regulatory technologies and ISO applications, best practices. Can we speak a little bit about that as well?
See, now if I give an example, right? I'm working in finance industry. Year ago, right now we are discussing in 2025 no, right? Year ago, in the organization where I worked, the level of digital transactions we had now actually doubled. The transactions our customers are doing through digital means are now doubled. So what does that mean? It means at a time when the mobile phone penetration is there. If you take in Sri Lanka, 22 million people are there and 23 million or whatever mobile phones are available. So that means everyone has a mobile phone, right? 1.1 mobile phones to one person.
At least one. Yeah.
At least one there. So that means digital is something that is the game changer again for the organization, because you are the storyteller, right? So you need to bring this message of digital to your boardroom, because at the boardroom when the decisions are made, you should be able to show how does this digital technologies like fintech, right, financial technology, how fintech will give you money, right? Maybe digital wallets, maybe internet payment gateways, IPGs, how to get POS machines into effect, then cybersecurity. When you amalgamate all these digital tools, come the topic cybersecurity, right? So the knowledge on that is really important, Nilendra, for you to tell the story at the boardroom. Hey, this is what we got to do in terms of digital for us to excel or make the organization to the next level. Because this may not come from the marketing person. Marketing person will come and he will show the story with regard to the marketing numbers. But you are the one who should justify that through your financial tools. So fintech, financial technology knowledge, the digital financing knowledge, maybe knowledge about, let's say, digital tools, right? All these are important at the boardroom for you to showcase your story about maybe a new project, right? The organization, say, if you are to implement a new ERP system to the organization, you are the one who is responsible, finance chartered accountant. So if you are to justify that at the board, and if you have to get it approved from the board, you need to have that knowledge, right? Otherwise, just go in there and put up a budget. Good old days, what happened? You develop a presentation, PowerPoint presentation, which was developed from ChatGPT, and then you just go there and you just showcase that at the boardroom, and you get fired from the board members, and then you just come back home and you get stressed.
Yeah.
But if you have this knowledge, if you put up some, let's say, some amount of figures, and if you put, hey, I need 300 million rupees for this digital transformation, you need to show it through numbers and you need to justify that case. So that's where this knowledge is really important for you. And Nilendra, one thing, knowledge about assurance. Now, we talked about the accountants in business, no?
Yeah.
But for the students who are doing who are specializing in practice, knowledge about assurance engagement, because audit firms nowadays are not only auditing. You can do vast amount of work, starting from due diligence, corporate acquisitions, because nowadays mergers and acquisitions are very common, right? Startups are coming in, venture capitalists are there, mergers are going, joint ventures are going, foreign investments are coming in. To those, as a professional practicing accountant, person who is running an audit firm, you are the one who is facilitating that. Good old days, it was only company incorporation, opening up bank accounts, where you go to Maradana and put up all those seals and notes.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that you have done. Nowadays, it's not the case, students, right? One of your clients will come to you and he will ask you to open up a bank account in Dubai. Client may ask you to open up a bank account in Singapore. He may asking from you, hey, how can I do business as an entrepreneur trade, right? Where the client will be there in Colombo. He wants to buy something from China, export that to UK. Entrepreneur, right? If you want to do not export, not import, entrepreneur. If you want to do it, on top of what sort of accounts I have to open, what sort of transactions I got to do, what is the compliance requirement that is there as per central bank guidelines. Hey, when those kind of deals comes in, if you say, hey, I only know company incorporation where I just go to Maradana ROC and just get seals done and all, you will miss the deal, right?
Yeah.
You will miss the deal because audit firms also have to make money, right? So professional assurance practice. Then you have review engagements, maybe a prospectus issuing, the knowledge about those, right? Compilation engagements, knowledge about those also given to you to become the kind of that solid financial individual in terms of professional practice, like an auditor, or maybe in the industry as well. And ultimately, finally, this is not all about traditional accountant's role. Take the students, right? My final giveaway to the students, right? You are the business leader in future, right? Maybe 2030, you are the business leader. Maybe before that, right? You are the business leader. So as a business leader, the decisions that you make will impact thousands of people, right? People who are maybe from the janitorial clerk or janitorial service provider to your office assistant clerk, to their lives it will impact, right? The general public it will impact. So at that time, students, you should make holistic decisions. That's why capstones are there. And the environment is changing. When the environment is changing, you need to have digital knowledge. And also you should be a storyteller, needs to have sustainability within you. Sustainability standards are coming in, so that's the game changer. And apart from that, the decisions that you are making as a chartered accountant should be fully fledged, I would say, positive impacting everybody. So at that time, this is the syllabus in terms of auditing, in terms of practicing accounting. I warmly welcome this syllabus, and it's where you can become a global passport holder for a global job.
Absolutely. And with that, we have a lot more to talk to you about, but we're saving that for another time. Thank you very much, Mr. Vithanage, for speaking to us. We absolutely love talking to you. And stay tuned with Infinity Learning Space as we bring you more videos just like these.